So, what if I told you that in 2026, the housing market isn't just recovering, it's about to stage a massive comeback? We're going to break down this huge economic story, but we're going to do it by focusing on one pretty surprising city right in the American heartland. The big question on everyone's mind, right? After years of just chaos, are we finally looking at a real nationwide housing recovery? Well, the predictions are in, and honestly, they paint a very, very interesting picture. All right, let's dive right into the numbers. To really get what's happening across the country, we have to look at the forecasts from the big one, the National Association of Realtors.
Okay, so check this out. The National Association of Realtors is projecting a nearly 14% jump in existing home sales for 2026. Now, that's the first double-digit increase we've seen since 2021. So why the big change? Well, think about all those homeowners who felt locked in by those crazy high mortgage rates. They're finally getting ready to make a move as rates start to come back down to earth. You add in a modest price increase and a drop in the average 30-year fixed mortgage to around 6%, and what do you get? A recipe for a pretty solid, if maybe a little cautious, national recovery.
But see, that 14% national number, it kind of smooths over some incredible local stories. Because if you zoom in on the map, right into the middle of the country, you'll find a market that isn't just recovering, it is getting ready to absolutely boom.
And yeah, that city is Indianapolis. It's poised to not just meet the national trend, but to completely, totally shatter it.
The projected sales growth for Central Indiana in 2026, it's not 14%. No, it's 15 to 18%. Now, I know that might not sound like a huge difference, but trust me, in real estate, that is a massive gap. So just look at this. You have the national comeback story at 14% on one side, and on the other, you have Central Indiana's forecast, which basically starts where the national number ends and just keeps going up. So the obvious question is, why? I mean, what is happening in Indiana? This isn't some kind of fluke. This whole thing is being fueled by colossal economic investment. We're talking about Eli Lilly's more than $14 billion expansion, a massive new Amazon robotics campus, and a steady stream of corporate relocations from much higher-cost states. This isn't just growth, you guys. It's an economic earthquake. So, what happens when an economic earthquake hits a housing market? You get a pressure cooker. And to understand just how intense this thing is, we need to talk about one key metric: inventory. Before we look at the charts, let's get on the same page real quick. Months of inventory is simple. It just tells us how long it would take to sell every single home currently for sale. Now, real estate experts consider 6 months to be a healthy, balanced market. Got it? Okay, keep that 6-month number in your head. For homes under $300,000, the entry-level market for most first-time buyers, Indianapolis has less than 1 month of inventory, 0.9 months. I mean, that's not just a seller's market, it's an extreme inventory crisis. A balanced market isn't even in the same universe. For a buyer, this means intense bidding wars and houses literally disappearing the day they're listed. Okay, so moving up the price ladder to that $300,000 to $500,000 range, where most move-up buyers are shopping, well, the situation is still critical. At just 1.6 months of inventory, we are still nowhere near that 6-month balanced market line. The pressure is still incredibly high. Even in the upper middle range, from $500K to $750K, you'd expect things to cool down a bit, right? But they don't. The inventory is still less than half of what would be considered balanced. We're sitting at 2.8 months, which means competition is still fierce for these properties. It's only when we get over $750,000 that we even get close to normal, at 4.2 months. But even this is still technically a seller's market. And the source material is really clear on this. This inventory is shrinking fast. The bottom line? There simply aren't enough homes for the number of buyers. Period. And this is where those big economic drivers we saw earlier connect directly to your neighborhood. I mean, look at Avon and Brownsburg, projected to see 10 to 12% price growth. That is no accident. It is directly tied to how close they are to the new Eli Lilly campus. And the same story is playing out across the suburbs, where tech and pharma relocations are fueling price growth of 9, 10, even 12% in places like Carmel and Westfield. So, given this really intense market, what does it all mean for you? Let's pivot from the what to the how with a practical playbook for both buyers and sellers in 2026. Okay, for first-time buyers, listen up.
Your strategy has to be precise. First, get help. Look into programs like Indiana Housing's Next Step for down payment assistance. Second, be strategic about where you look. Target these high-growth areas like Avon, Brownsburg, and Greenwood before they get even hotter. And third, and this is so crucial, act now. Waiting for rates to drop further might sound smart, but all it means is you'll be facing an absolute frenzy of competition and even worse bidding wars.
Now, for sellers, it's all about timing and tapping into a kind of hidden market. The best windows to list are during that peak buyer frenzy from February to April, with a second little wave in the fall. But here's the pro move. Leverage the off-market demand. Remember all those corporate relocations we talked about? Those are often cash-ready buyers looking to move fast, and they represent a massive opportunity for sellers. Okay, so let's zoom out one last time. We've seen the national forecast, we've seen the incredible local economic drivers, and we've seen the on-the-ground reality of the Indianapolis market. And all of this brings us to one final really crucial question. So, is Indianapolis just a unique outlier, a perfect storm of investment that can't be repeated? Or is it a blueprint for the future of the American heartland? That's the question other cities are going to be asking themselves. Thanks for tuning in.